So we roll again. Another improvement. End up with a score just over 1,000, 1,010 there. 654 places up into 5,491. Let's get in and have a look at how we've moved across the season here with our history tab. Now, remember you guys, you can do this as well. And we moved into that 5,000 mark really quickly. And I was super excited there in round 6. And then it has gone very poorly since then. Got out to basically 10,000 in round 9, 11,276, 11,847 in round 12. So it was getting pretty dire. And that was after 3 trades too. We did have a peak out of our team value at 16 million before it all started, almost before it all started improving, to be fair. And our team value has gone down since then, but so has our rank. So it's just been a season where we haven't been able to build too much traction apart from that first 5 to 6 rounds there. And you can see here the last 5 weeks, really, since 10,842, we've built into this spot here. And less trades than other sections as well. So we'll take that. We just used the 1 trade on the weekend. We brought in Kane Bradley, where Mr. Rodwell might have been a better play, but depending on how things go this week, we may actually have to play the great man Kane Bradley, which is a bit scary in itself. And I think a good chance that we may see Sandon Smith move to the bench, which could be painful as well. And the question this week will be, is it worth making a trade in hooker? Or is it worth focusing on one of the other spots, just in case we do miss out on a few guys through Origin non-backups? I personally have Haas. I have Tino. I have Munster. Munster's very likely, or apparently isn't going to play. And condolences to him and his family. So the rest hopefully okay. Like Pappenhausen didn't play on the weekend, so that hurt my side definitely there. Also had Aiken miss out, so I end up trading Aiken to Bradley, which left me with some cash in the bank, which is a good sign at 283, that there's a few things that I can do. And maybe, if Watson's all good, maybe Sandon Smith goes to Watson this week just to improve that spot. But the question will be around who actually plays this week and who doesn't. I'm sitting right now with the 3 there, the 6, 7, 8. Let's just say Munster's out. So 9 with Campbell. And then definitely my 3 before Bradley is 12, 15 with Teddy, Drinky, and hopefully Pappenhausen does back up. So that's assuming that Haas is there and all these types of things as well. Plus Ramian, makes 16. So it's a position that I'm not super excited about this week, and it's just going to be about trying to get through this one using the 2 trades and trying to do a job. So that's where Sandon Smith, is he just, if the guys are out, is he just worth holding this week and making some a decision in that position following this week? But then again, when we get through this one, Starling will be back and available, and yes, didn't score well on the weekend, but generally has been really good for my side this year. So in front row, May, Haas, and then like Tino or Kolomatangi, I just moved him to push Tino into the starting side here in second row to fill that spot there basically when I was putting it together. So Lucas, Katoa, Tino. I'm not going to be selling Tino even if he doesn't back up. I don't think at that price it's just a bit low now. Someone like Horsburgh at 520k I think is a good price point now to move on from. Duncan with the back-to-back tons is so good, and break even, he ends up with a 5. So following this week, you'd very much hope that he gets back into the second row spot and can at least make some money. And then if he does happen to slow down, we've got a guy that we can move straight in for Duncan and actually make money with guys like Crichton, which would be really cool there, definitely. But Horsburgh with here, what he's been thrown out has been pretty solid, to be fair. But is he a guy at 520 that we can upgrade? We definitely can. Munster is one of those guys as well that, he is going to miss this week. But I do think following this one, he's still one of the top, 2 to 3 5/8s in our Supercoach game. So probably not worth a sell. Ramian will be needed this week at 427 and is a fairly low price anyway. I won't be selling Garrick. He was really good on the weekend and he's just getting the tries, which is what we want in Supercoach. We have Bradley and Lawson now, so I'm probably going to move a Bradley up into second row forward at some point so I can build one more of these gun center wings, and it might not be this week. We'll have to see. the Eels with Lomax is a guy that, we're going to want, I think. And also Val Holmes coming up against the Roosters this week on, the second Saturday game, which is only, 3 days, less than 3 days recovery there for him. But he does seem to back up really well and in a team that does need him very much so. So yeah, there's a limited amount of clear sells, which is great. Yeah, it's good to have that in the side. But it's the hooking position. Do we want to go for Watson, Harry Grant? One of those two is the clear guy there. Does someone like Angus Crichton back up on the Saturday? Maybe, maybe not. So he could be an upgrade in the second row forward. Thomas Cantor, 308. Now that we've got Bradley, we've got Lawson, we've got Simpkins as our pure cash outs, do we need one more? And if we are looking to improve our centre wing, let's just say the Horsburgh gets upgraded, to one of the guns, then like Crichton there. If we have, I do want an extra gun in centre wing, especially if I've got Ramian sitting there down there at cheap. We've got Dewey in a cheaper spot as well. I'm 100% going to want to upgrade there. So if I move Bradley up into this spot, can I have two cheaper guys in second row forward, or is it a week that we could try and upgrade a Thomas Cant there and just roll with the three cheaper guys in that spot, and then have the fourth with Simpkins up there? That's probably going to be the question of the week for me, is how do I want to play those two positions? And yeah, is Duncan, does he end up moving to someone else, or is he just going to stay for the year? And do we have Horsburgh just being the upgrade to a Crichton, and we leave Thomas Cant in that spot? It's probably where I'm thinking, because the fullbacks are set and likely going to continue to do well. We did have Turbo was the big standout of the week there with 120 odd, and then KO Weeks just coming from the absolute clouds after averaging very, very low for the few weeks before, and then since that 156, he's got a 74 average, which includes two really good scores in the previous 2 weeks. So good on him, getting up to 600k almost, and doing an awesome job. If you're looking at pure averages, it's still the top three there. Someone like Dylan Edwards could be really fun. We'll see if he does back up on the Sunday after missing round 16. Jaden Campbell hopefully returns this week. Would love to see that in my 5'8 slot. But yeah, you can look at him in that position there at 564. We'll drop some cash this week, given the head knock game last one. And then we'll be in a good spot for you there. Now, if you have Turbo, you picked up a really good score, has the bye coming up. And then you do have guys like Latrell as well. So think about him following their bye this week. For that centre wing position, as I mentioned, there's a couple of guys that I don't own that should be on a lot of your radars as well. And yeah, Nwangi Tuaze as well. So I grabbed him in fantasy, didn't go for it in Supercoach. Just wanted to make the one trade and wasn't able to do that. So just the cheapie came in to give me a bit of spare cabbage. And a 689k is a bit late. I think there's a good chance he comes up against Val, or at least his side, if he does back up. And look, under 700k, it's not the worst, but you are spending a very similar amount of cash to get to Lomax, who is actually just under him on average, and same with Val Holmes. So all a very, very similar mark there. Nwangi Tuaze. Make myself laugh. That you can go for. So those three guys, all really good. Mark just continues to get better and better every week. Karapani, if you bought him a couple of weeks ago, he's up 188k, which is awesome. You have Kiraz, who comes up against the Cowboys. I think it's a great buy. Farnworth, probably a bit too hard to purchase with a buy in a couple of weeks when you've got all these other guys that are clear standouts there. Kane Bradley will go up in cash this week if you want someone that can help you between second row forward and the centre wing position, then that's cool as well. But outside of that, you've got Beau Fermor under 600k, who will still be a solo one, and he's playing this week. Lehigh Hopewadi, a bit of a frustrating one here at 543k. If you want to use him to upgrade, I see that as being a completely fine decision there. We've got Nick Meaney. If he plays fullback again against Knights, probably won't go as crazy. But yeah, what a great score. There's a couple of good ones, wasn't there? 165 in the end is wild. So guys like Ramian, or one of Ramian or Dewey will leave my side definitely to make that upgrade. But it won't be this week. It'll probably be next week for one of those guys that I did mention there. and you should think very, very similarly about that. Ezra Mam, a great score from him. You've got Munster and Campbell, who have the two best averages in the position. Metcalf is out for the season, sadly. Blaze, surprisingly doing really well, 62.7 for him. You got Dearden, you got Burton, who potentially will be shifted out to centre sometime, so that's not super exciting for that one. We do have to have a look at who's going to make this position. So Tamari Martin, is he actually in? Yeah, he's at 244k in the 5/8 and halfback slot. That cheap price is crazy. And then you got Tanner Boyd. So if you do need a cash down and you want to use this position, then if Tamari Martin gets the spot, I think he's a really, really good cash down. And you could probably do it straight away. Get a scorer. Most likely you'll probably need a scorer if a few of the Origin guys are out. And he will be that guy to partner if it's Campbell or whoever you've got in that position, or if it's just Munster and you want to cash out your second guy, then if it is Tamari Martin there or Boyd, you can get them into your start this week and cover that position, which will be good. Now for halfback, I still don't have Cleary, so he's very much in my plans. Probably not this week, but definitely is in the short list come round 20. Now, the worry and the decision we have to make is out of Hughes and Hines, who do we sell? Hines has a terrific run coming up. Is it worth just holding on to those two guys in Hughes and Hines, or is it worth pushing out chips in to get Cleary, who is averaging 77 over the past 3, 87 over the past 5, and he's played really, really well. So you look at it and go, well, right now it's not clear as day as like a need, but you also have Hughes there, who's had a slower start, didn't score as well on the weekend, can go big, but so can Cleary, and we know he's the most worrisome player in the game there. Well done to anyone who took the advice last week on DCE at that cheaper 460 odd price. It was a really, really nice pickup if you went for that one. And yeah, the guys that we did mention, Tamari Martin has the dual, which is good. And guys like Lycan, King, Tonga with the 18, that's the tough one. In the fact that, what's his break even now? 50, so it's not the end of the world. He should be okay in general to hit close to that. He did really well the week before, and it could happen against the Roosters, although, yeah, it depends on who comes back for both teams and how it all plays out. So that's the half position there. For the second row forward slot, what you do need to look at is the top guys. So Hudson Young, 81, Lucas at 78, the average, and then Eli Katoa with a lower score at 68, but it's still a really nice price at 670. We've got Jacob Preston, who picked up a 45 on the weekend, and a 62 3-round average is a bit lower for him, but 648k now. He will go down again this week coming with the break even of 91, unless he comes out and does really well, which we've seen him do and hit that score fairly regularly there. Bill Kickow was 69, did a good job as well. So yeah, you've got a few of these guys in line. None of them stood out clearly this week. Young has the bye anyway. I think a collection of, a Katoa, one of Kickow or Preston, a Colo or Tino in this position. Some may have an Aaron Clark. Some may have a Beau Fermor. Some may have a Zach Hosking, who did well. You've got my position here with a Duncan. Some may have like a Kaipis Paul or a Britton Nickera. Some may have bought Naf White. So that kind of collection of guys stands out as what you want. As you can see here, it's a position where there are 5-6 guys that are going to be 70 plus or close to it, which is fine. But I don't think it's going to be the position that makes or breaks your season. It is ensuring that you get all of the really good center wings, the fullback on the right run, and the halfback position, where you have your funds in that one, I think will be a big determinant of how you go the rest of the season, because they're the guys that have the big upside, whereas these guys, yes, can go on runs, but I think they usually average out to this spot. Kickow's had a good little run, 81. You see Tino's had a bit of a slow one with his injury. Some of the other guys fairly consistent in the 60s to 80 range on their last three. They'll get 100, but then they'll pick up a 50 the next week, which happens less for some of those other positions, as we know across the season. Now, for front row forward, we've got guys like Tarpany. I think the question with him is he worth holding? With minutes that he's been given in recent history, that's the big worry, especially when you've got guys like Haas, you've got May, you've got Tino at a very cheap price as well, who we know has a lot of upside. Guys like Aaron Clark are doing awesome. If you've got Adam Fanua-Blake, he's at 617k. So there's a few different guys you can go to this week that do play, and Adam is one of those players, which is great news. Looking down the line, it's not a very exciting position, and a lot of these players in the mid-range, like Horsburgh, are going to be players that you will want to sell at some point. But is it this week, or is it in a week where you'd have a few less problems and you can move things around to accommodate that? So front row forward, ultimately you're going to want to have the guys that have the biggest average, and they're two of the biggest averages in the entire game. So Haas and May, you'll want both of those guys. I imagine you still have Terrell. You may not have Payne Haas like I do in this one. I've held on. Hopefully it helps me this week. In fantasy, I'm hoping that he doesn't play. Funny how it works both ways. But he's going to be the other guy that you want. And then Tino, to average 72.6 with a 5-round average of 57, you know that he was in the mid to high 70s before that, and you can get him at a nice price. The guy we didn't mention when we're rolling through descent in second row forward was Angus Crichton, but the question is going to be, do you buy him this week if he backs up? He's at a really nice price, just near 600k, for a guy that we know can be the most dominant guy in the second row forward position, just like we've seen with Fafita over the years as well. Now in the hooking slot, it's crazy that Harry Grant is averaging 59, but when you look at this top 5, top 9 list all the way to Damien Cook, it is Watson and it is Grant that you do want. Brayley's had a really good time of it, but he's more expensive than both those players. McInnes, pretty nice price there at 522, but we know his upside is limited. So I would wait, make sure that these guys do back up, and we look, if Watson plays the 20 or so minutes that we expect him to, he should back up and be ready to go for a team that just lost as well in the Roosters. And then Grant is the other option, who we know has the really nice ceiling and has the pedigree of the last 4 years at 9, and will be the guy to most likely help you out there. Now, I did move into 17th in the private group, which was good. I stayed at 40th actually in the Podmasters with this score. But my big one here was the All-Stars League. I was very much neck and neck. I think I needed Tallis Duncan to win out in the last player matchup by, I think it was up by like 12 or something like that. I had to improve from, and then he scored those 2 tries, which is great. But you can see here over the last 5 rounds, I've won 5 in a row, which has been massive, which has coincided with me improving each week, which is great. And a lot of close games in my matchups there. You can see some of the others, 700, 1400. Ben, I think he's in like 66th spot, which is incredible. So I'm 7th overall, and that little run I've gone on has been great, and gives me a little bit of leeway to lose 1 or 2, or if I don't have to push for trades in certain weeks. But this week here might be a week where I do struggle. Actually, let's see game day where we're looking at, but just a quick one on the private group before we do that. All right, Scoop, 120 seconds, incredible. Jaden's into 248, absolutely flying as well, with David at 261. So hey, the boys have a chip in a chair, they got a chance. And then Jared and Don very close to that 1,000 mark, with Jacob, Matthew, Ashton, Hayden, and Gareth rounding out the top 10 there. And just the game day, I wanted to check who I was playing this week in the All-Stars. So for that one there, round 19, I'll see who I'm playing in the JBFAs as well. So we've got James in the first head-to-head. The Xavier Turbos. Okay. All-Stars. We've got Cody on 20th. Maybe I'm a chance to win this one. Interesting. I'll have a look at that a bit later. And then the other 2, we've got Paul, and I've got Jimmy in the 2 private head-to-heads. Oh, and then Aman in the SC contributors. Good stuff. Love that. Super excited to see how this week rolls out. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you making any trades? I'm personally sitting with the 12 there, and most of these guys, now that I've created a bit of cash there, is just for upgrades and to cover injuries. So I would definitely love 17 on the park this week, at least if we can get there. 18 would be a lucky one. We might have to leave Sanders Smith for this stage, but we'll see how things roll out with Origin and make our decisions from there. But I think the point of this early video, guys, is to just get you thinking of what you may need in your squad and the positions that you may need to cover due to Origin non-backups, and the positions you want to upgrade in general over the next 3 weeks there. Some positions like fullback for myself are set. Halfback, I'll have to make a decision. 5/8 I'll probably leave as is. A couple of improvements to make in centre wing. one or two changes in second row forward, and front row forward's pretty solid with maybe one change in hooker. So if I can leave some space for injuries and have a couple of upgrades in there as things go, then we should be okay for the last 9 rounds to limp in with the 26 available players. And most of those weeks from there, we'll be playing the sit v starts. So yeah, it's really just this week, and then from here we should be fine. So thanks so much, guys, for listening for this one. Hope you had fun, and let me know in the comments what you're doing this week. See ya.